Hello everyone, this is Andrea.
And this is Chris, and we are Lacuna Coil.
And you're watching Montreality. Oh, 96, demo tape, 2 songs, send it to a label, get a deal, start touring in Europe. First record 98, first EP 98, first full record 99. 6 albums, touring worldwide, start selling records. We've been everywhere, been South America, North America, Canada, America, Europe. We've toured in Japan, Australia, India, and that's it.
And here we are. And what type of students? I don't know. I mean,
really bad.
Really bad.
I was bad because I wasn't really interested in what I was studying, like as an accountant. That's really boring. So it was definitely the wrong choice. So the only thing I really liked was English, the language, and history a little bit. The rest.
I think we actually went through like a lot of different kinds of jobs. I mean, I worked in an office. I worked for a pottery shop, for a delivery company and stuff, and anything you can actually think of. Pretty much.
We've done a lot, especially in the beginning of the band. We had to balance the touring and not making enough money, so also go to find some jobs just for a month or 2. So you couldn't really have a proper job. So whatever comes, we did it. I worked for a skateboard magazine for a while before I got professionally into music. So because it was one of my passions, so I just did that.
Did we ever get
still
a
waiting
big
for
paycheck? We got a paycheck, but no.
I mean, as I say, we've been a constant growth, so there was not a moment where from 0 we went to everything. It just happened that we start growing and getting better and more wealthy. But we always survived with the band, and we've been able to buy houses and with a mortgage. Not that I go there with a lot of cash and buy the house, but we've been able to have a mortgage, buy a car. Just the normal. Maybe the car is the things. The first car is when you can buy a car, even if you pay.
Afford,
you have to pay it for a couple of years, but then you have it and it's yours, and it's great that you paid with the band.
Yeah. Getting to the point where we could actually survive only by playing music without having to go and have a day job or whatever was actually probably the best accomplishment, because that was the goal that we had. We weren't hoping or dreaming to become millionaires, but just at least be able to survive just by making music, doing what you love. It's great. That's a pretty tough question. I mean, I think that for one, you have to be aware that it's not really a guarantee that you're gonna make it, and the most important thing I think is that you are very passionate about what you're doing and give 110% most of the time. I mean, there's gonna be times where you're not gonna make any money. There's gonna be times where it's gonna be hard to pay the rent and your bills and stuff. But if you actually believe in it, and something one day will happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. There's no recipe. We just went out there and started touring a lot. And when we started, was also different times. Now the music business has been changing so much, and the sales are not as they used to be. You don't sell as many albums anymore, and it's hard for young bands that they just start to have more than one chance to actually build a career. When we started, we had a chance to build step by step and create a fan base, develop our own style. Now it's all very hard. If you don't make it on the first try, it's hard that you get a second chance.
Actually,
iPhone?
Nothing.
iPhone.
Except for from touring, I think we're probably gonna start maybe write some new songs for the next album, because other than touring, there's really not much else that we.
From May, when we're gonna finish the first part of the touring in North America and South America, we're gonna go back home and stay home and do just fly-in shows on festivals in Europe. So we have time to write the album. So we probably start collecting ideas for the next album and see if something else is coming.
We try to go and be as energetic as we can, just to have a real impact on the people who come there and maybe never actually saw us playing before. I mean, obviously we try to give the best we can, and both sound and image wise, so that people who will come will actually maybe leave with like with a great impression of the band.
Yeah, probably compared to what you could expect, because we have maybe a female singer as well, so you could expect something more soft. What we actually, our show is pretty heavy and intense, and we want people to jump and to scream and to participate to the show. So there is an atmospherical part of the show, but mostly there is a lot of energy that maybe you won't expect from a band like us. Oh, I mean, the first time we toured, it was actually the first time we ever played a live show together. So it was right on tour. We opened for a band in Europe called Moonspell, and it was the first time we ever did a show together. So that was pretty, I mean, we didn't know what to do and how to move and what to say. We were shy, you know, the normal thing when you open, when we're not really experienced. And I think after every tour we do, we get better as entertainers, because we learn more about staying on a stage and talk to people, and when it's time to just go with the music and have the mood of the show flows. So I think you really need to experience to become a good entertainer, you know.
That's pretty...
I mean, it depends what kind of book, but if it's a book about the history of the band, like a kind of a biography or something, it's probably be something like all the mistakes that you don't have to make, you know. Because when you start, you do all the normal mistakes that the band does, like sign the wrong deal or don't get a lawyer, or you don't know how this thing works, because you just see that you have the chance to sign a deal to put your record out there, and that's all you've wished for when you were a demo band, you know. So it's very important when you started to give some advice to people that's starting and it's getting into the business, to how reality of things are different than what you could expect, or what your dreams are about becoming entering the music business. You know, there's much more you have to know than what you actually know when you start. It's hard to say, because when you don't know somebody personally, you might like his music, but you don't know how he is, you know. So I think the best collaboration is when you know somebody for real, and then you feel you have something in common, and then he offers you a song and you really like that song, and that's the best moment, you know, because you can have great bands, but maybe the song that they're gonna offer you is you don't like it, you know. It's not that you're gonna like all of the songs, so it really needs to be, you need to know the person you're gonna cooperate with, and it depends from the song, not just from the kind of music or the style. I could say like Rammstein or whatever, because they're big bands with a lot of good songs, you know, but or Korn or other bands, but that doesn't necessarily means that it's gonna be great, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I discovered this band recently. It's called it's from New York. It's called A Pale Horse Named Death, and it features the original drummer from Type O Negative, Sal, and also the most recent drummer, Johnny. Sal is singing on this album and Johnny is playing drums, and they do a mix between, the music is a mix, I could say, between Type O Negative and Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
So it is dark, but also kind of stonerish rock metal with very heavy guitars. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. Yeah. Airports are not really a very much fun place to be, you know? I mean, we've been to many different ones, sometimes had to wait like for hours and hours, and they're all pretty much all the same, you know. I mean, you have like the place where you can go and eat, the gates where you wait for super long time and stuff. I mean, probably like American airports are the best in terms of like what you get inside, you know, like the food court and everything.
Yeah, probably.
So.
I would say two. One is London, because we stopped there many times, and we have a spot like a bar where we all go, and they make these meat pies in an English style that is really good. So every time we stop there, we get a beer and that. And then another one is Denver, because every time we fly directly to Denver, the border crossing is way easier, because there's not so many people, and the controls are a bit more relaxed, you know, compared to New York or LA, where you have more strict security, and so it's better for us. It's more relaxed. Or a prank. I mean, we had a lot of funny stories, but pranks.
Well, there is something that we wanted to actually do, but actually never ended up doing for real. During the last European tour we did well, actually only in the UK, we have this encore thing where the intro rolls, and it's a pretty long intro, but our drummer who was playing on click, you know, as in-ears and stuff, has to go on stage, you know, set up, sit down, plug his cable in and whatever, and he's very like nervous about it. So he goes on stage like super early, and he just waits there forever. And on the last show, we're like, we're not going on stage. We're just gonna leave him there, you know, by himself, and he's gonna go and like start playing, and we're not there. But then we didn't do it because I mean, we have people in the crowd, and it would have been a little too much.
Well,
maybe, you know?
we had a lot of. Usually, the funniest moments are on stage on the last show of the tour, like when we toured with Rob Zombie in America, like a few years ago. On the last show, we were all having makeup as zombies, and during one of his songs, we were all walking on stage, like crawling on the amps and on the monitors and on his leg.
And they didn't know about it.
They didn't know. They loved it, and we didn't know because well, maybe they get offended or we ruined the show. But we did it so well with all the blood spots and everything. So he really liked it, and we played with us. Like he threw us on the floor, and then he jumped on us, and it was really cool.
We had to work very hard to actually get to where we are today, and we know that if we actually don't work every day for it and fight for it, it's not a guarantee that we're going to be doing it tomorrow or the next year, you know. So I mean there's so many bands out there, so many people buying records, and like if you disappear from the scene for a long time, chances are nobody's gonna remember who you are, you know?
Yeah, most of all is I think that fire that you have inside, that is the passion for music. If you lose that, you better change your job, because it becomes all just a very negative spot, because you have to stay on tour, and there's long days where you don't have much to do, and then you have to do all the interviews and promo stuff that it can be interesting if you're really passionate for something. If you don't have that passion anymore, and I see very often big bands that they're still there because they make good money doing that, but they're not really passionate, and you can hear it in their records, you can hear it in the live shows. They just do the little, you know, they know how to do it and they do it, but that's nothing extra, you know. The cool thing is that when you go on stage and you see audience participating to the show, then you go even more crazy and you give more and you push more, and that until you have that passion inside you, that's important, you know? And you can have it. I've seen even people that is playing small clubs and they're like around 50 or 60 years old, and they still have that passion. You can see it in their eyes when they perform, you know. And if you don't have that, then it's not worth it to do this.